No. No. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name's SKYMAN Universe and your Star Wars quote for today. Sister. So, you have a twin sister. Your feelings now betrayed her too. Today we're going to be reacting to Ahsoka episode 7 now. Is this the second to last episode? Surely it can't be. We must be in episode 6. No way. So if that is the case, then 2 more episodes left, and my goodness, I feel like there's so much that still needs to happen and could happen. Ahsoka didn't even arrive to Thrawn yet, and that was one of the things which, after watching last week's episode, which was great by the way, in my opinion, I feel like the last 2 episodes have been pretty top tier, and I've loved seeing Hayden back. I still can't get over that. But with Thrawn as well, that just continued to get better and better, and it's sort of adding on more and more, so it makes me wonder what else is still coming. But after watching that and sort of thinking about it, there should have been a sort of element in place to show the distance of time of how long it actually takes to go to another galaxy. The journey needed to be made somewhat a little bit more special, and I kind of wouldn't have minded if there was a bit of a sort of time jump, like quite a long period of time, so they actually change a little bit when they turn up, or look a tiny bit different, like half a year or something like that, just to show that it's not a thing you can, randomly jump through hyperspace like it's a special thing. It's very hard, it's very dangerous, that's why it's not really done. That makes it more secret, it makes the journey more important. I don't know if that makes sense, and it makes it more special to know that Thrawn is there and ready to come back, rather than just a sort of normal jump through hyperspace. I know they had the big ring and that powerful blast into hyperspace, which was freaking awesome, but I think you could have sort of shown a time, like especially with Ahsoka going through that, I don't know, perhaps she's training, there's like a little bit of growth or something going on. I know that Yang, whatever his name is, he was going to tell stories and things, which I kind of wanted to hear. But something like that would have just made the distance, I think, just seemed a little bit different from a normal hyperspace thing. The main thing from last week's episode, which was freaking insane, and I've binge watched it all week, and that's Grand Admiral Thrawn's return. And there's just something very, very subtle and eerie, creepy, but at the same time very exciting, and makes you really root for him to get back and to actually win something. But to see Thrawn, his presence sort of going through, I thought that was really well done with the chanting of the stormtroopers. They were creepy as hell. And then Thrawn just casually walking up confidently with the Night Sister sort of answering to him. That scene, which I really, really love so much, and I keep playing it for some reason, but it's when Thrawn walks on, his theme's there, and then he looks to Baylan and he says, these are mercenaries, and says, Baylan, General Baylan, formerly from the Jedi Order. And Baylan's like, yes. I parted ways with the Jedi a long time ago. And the way Baylan says that, and just in that tiny scene, and there's so much like something's going on, like Thrawn knows something. Obviously he wants to get rid of them all, but I think his grand scheme, in order to be successful and not be a Force user and rule the galaxy, I assume somehow you have to get rid of the Force, because that's what gives the Jedi and Sith its power, and all Force users. Then you create a sort of level playing field, so to speak, and that's how Thrawn could survive. My theory here is that the Night Sisters are being brought back to Dathomir to try and do something. The corpses, that's another thing. They're bringing more and more corpses on. Are they corpses of other Night Sisters? Are they corpses of more stormtroopers that were on board the Star Destroyer? Which makes me think Thrawn could possibly be in control of like an undead army, which perfectly keeps us with the stormtrooper armor. It gives us a good reason to still have stormtroopers, but you've made it, instead of just giving them like in the sequels where they just say, oh, it's a red stormtrooper now. What difference is it? It's a Sith trooper. No, it's not. It's just literally the same. It's cannon fodder. But now Thrawn has a different type of stormtrooper. It could possibly be like an undead, resurrected stormtrooper. If they travel through to another galaxy, Thrawn survived. I assume something to do with Ezra there as well. He must have managed to keep them alive, but I assume by the state of the Star Destroyer, everyone else might have perished in there. But, you know, the Night Sisters would have resurrected them and put their ribbons around the stormtroopers or something. The chanting all sounds off as well when they're chanting Thrawn. So there's something really intricate and interesting in there. And I think something is intertwined there. It has to be. All of the stormtroopers are really eerie, and I think that was a really nice way to sort of set Thrawn up, because he's been busy in his downtime sort of thing, but he looks immaculate as well. And Mikkelsen, to have him and hearing his voice, I'm at that perfect point with Rebels again, where it's all Thrawn stuff, season 3, and now I've got Thrawn here in live action. And just hearing his voice, and just hearing his voice in this, like the characters just merged, it's so good. Enoch was a creepy stormtrooper. I didn't know if I liked the mask thing, but then it's Thrawn after all. And having the one that says, die well or something to Sabine, he's pretty cool. And I'm sort of excited to see what happens to him. It's good to have like these people who sort of stand out from the other troopers and sort of is more loyal to Thrawn. But he must be undead, yeah, I think that's the word as well. The one thing as well with last week's episode, it did feel like it was focusing quite a lot on Sabine. This is a tiny thing which I'll tweak. Even when I was watching Rebels, I don't connect as much to Sabine's character. It's not that I'm looking for a connection. I don't enjoy as much like going through the storylines like of Sabine, and now she's being a Jedi. The more I sort of look at it, I'm at that point as well where Kanan was teaching Sabine, which was nice, but now that she's Force sensitive, I feel like that was just like, make her Force sensitive, when Sabine would have really benefited from being just a very loyal Mandalorian, skilled, talented Mandalorian, you know, the sort of bounty hunter warrior type that would have sort of looked after Ahsoka, and that would have, I know they're probably trying to stay clear a little bit from the Mandalorian because we've just had all that, so I know it's different, but I kind of like that she was great with weapons and detonators and things like that. So following her story a little bit here, obviously she's going to find Ezra, which I think it was nice, but it wasn't as magical as I thought it would be when they'd meet up with each other again. I thought there'd be just something, I don't know, I think the music sort of saved it a bit for me, having Ezra's theme, and I'm very interested to see how that actor progresses with the Ezra story. I think he kind of looks like Ezra, but I'm eager for him to look even more like Ezra and perhaps act a little bit like Ezra more, purely because Ezra was tech savvy, he was cunning, charming, had a lot of charisma. He's wiser now after what happened with Kanan and then going and saving the galaxy, etc. From Thrawn. So there's a lot of growth there, but I just want a lot more of that Rebels character implemented into Ezra, and my fingers across that. Perhaps it is going to be that. Only this episode will tell. Very excited for Baylan. I'm extremely excited for Thrawn. Even when Baylan mentions about the Force and the power, or there's something that calls to him. I mean, you're setting up massive things here. One thing, like I said, I would have changed as well would have been the planet just being a little bit more atmospheric, like Dathomir. I've just gone to Dathomir with Darth Maul and Ezra and everyone, and it's just pure red mist, and it's really creepy. And I think that would have worked perfectly for this planet as well, even if it was exactly the same as Dathomir, and you had that sort of identical link, and that's why Night Sisters, even that would have probably worked, just to make it seem a bit more in the hospitable, creepy, atmospheric, and a dangerous place to be on. So that's why it's sort of secluded and no one goes there. But it seems more like a generic planet in a Star Wars TV show with the same sort of tribe people with a couple of baddies which really aren't a threat but are meant to look like they are a threat type of planet. So I would have just tweaked that a little bit. I always think George Lucas tried to create planets which were different, like Hoth, Camino, etc., sandy and things like that. And he always changed them. Even when it was Tatooine and Geonosis, there's a different shade of sand. It was all sort of bug-like, and the intricate rocks and things, like termite rocks. So there was always a different thing in play there. And I feel like that should still sort of be honoured with these planets which don't just look like the same. Like it looks like it could have just come out of the Kenobi show, sort of thing. And I think something very Star Warsy. You can really go all out, even if it's like a planet that's under ice and everything's under ice or something like that. I don't know. Minor tweaks I'd change there, but that's just for the sake of atmosphere. But I think I'm still in sort of movie orientated mode, but I think that still would be a pretty cool thing to see. It's kind of a cool thing, literally having no idea what's going to happen in this episode. There's always that thing in the back of your mind where you feel like, well, you're kind of near the end now, and you should sort of know what's kind of transpire in a way in the grand scheme of things, but nature of the TV shows don't really show that. And of course it's Dave Filoni thing, so it's secrets galore all the way, which is kind of what I love. But if I was to speculate ever so quickly, Ahsoka must turn up. She must have a confrontation with Thrawn or something like that. And more of Ezra and Sabine. Where do they fit in with Thrawn? Are they going to meet Thrawn? Is there going to be an interaction between Ezra and Thrawn again? And there could be some good backstory there. I don't know. I'm very excited. Let's watch it.
I want to know her background, history, home world, her master, everything.
Yes, Grand Admiral.
If a star whale approaches Peridia, destroyed with prejudice.
You and Ahsoka Tano are to return to Coruscant with the fleet. The Senate Oversight Committee is going to determine
Gosh,
if
I
your
hate the
command
New
should be
Republic.
permanently suspended.
I hope it's not going to be a New Republic episode. And one thing I have been doing is playing the soundtrack a lot. The Balin Skull theme, the Ahsoka end credits theme. They're pretty good. Pretty good. Well, so we are back on Coruscant.
We simply cannot allow a general of the New Republic security forces to go around acting like this is still a rebellion. This is a government, and it has rules and laws which General Syndulla
Is that
seems to have
Admiral
no
Akbar?
problem bending to fit
It's
her
a
personal
trap.
agenda.
My job is...
See, and you protected the New Republic by ignoring direct
There's more
orders.
Mothman
No, I protected
ever
the Republic
age.
by ignoring you. Was leading a coordinated effort by the Imperial Remnant.
Objection!
I'm sorry to
Imperial.
stop what I already believe to be a very
Sensational
rehearsed
term.
story.
There's no proof Gideon was a warlord acting on his own. There's no proof of a greater conspiracy, and thus no immediate threat to this
There's a
republic.
connection.
If Thrawn returns, that will change.
Order.
No. No. I thought I heard his noise.
Honored Chancellor, with respect, I'm here on behalf of Senator Leia Organa. May I speak?
By all means.
Thank you.
That's so special, honestly.
Which she hopes may resolve the matter.
The fact that Anthony Daniels is still doing C-3PO is the best thing ever.
Thank you. Sanction General Syndulla's reconnaissance mission to Cetos. Being regretted.
I'm from a mere droid.
He's a good actor, that guy, anyway.
Senator Organa is willing to overlook this misstep, but asks that you address any further concerns to her directly in her role as
It's not
leader
Star
of
Wars
the
without
Defense
you, buddy.
Council.
No. Just...
It's a trap.
Court dismissed.
Mere droid.
Thanks, Lucio.
Well, it is my programming and my pleasure to be of service, General Syndulla. Captain Taylor.
General Syndulla, might I have a word?
Of course, Chancellor.
That's who I thought I was going to hate all that New Republic stuff, and it just
You and Leia are playing out. But I know
completely surprised me.
surprise your mission.
Made a full U-turn. That was amazing.
Eventually.
It's the threat of Thrawn's return.
It's pretty high. Well, that was a great start. I love Phantom Menace politics, I love Attack of the Clones politics, and Revenge of the Sith politics. I pretty much like that as well. They're going to blast straight out. That still looks incredible. No. No way. That's so cool.
In this war, you will face more than just droids.
Gosh, man, this is just so good. I love that she's still doing her Jedi training.
It's my responsibility to prepare you. So practice these forms often. Or at least more than I do. I won't always be
Seriously.
there to look out for you. If we get separated or something happens. I know you can do this, Ahsoka.
I love that. So that is so special. The fact that she's
Plenty more of these recordings.
still watching that.
This was his last one. He was a good master.
The fact that we had that sort of experience in there, like I was saying at the start, where I wanted things to happen to make it seem like it was long.
If we have indeed traveled to another
And there it
galaxy,
is.
our star charts will be useless.
It's me.
Direct to the point, as always.
That's my style.
I would point.
They look so goddamn cool, honestly. Such a great creation. Gosh. Those mines. Freaking hell. Did Thrawn do all of that?
It's an Imperial.
That's a pretty awesome idea. I feel like it might have had something like that in the Star Wars game before. But I don't know which one.
We are clear.
Like with the purple bones around the edge.
The enemy.
Like that's a perfect idea for something that's atmospheric and creepy. I mean, it looks incredible. But it just needs more of that on the planet. Even if it had bones on the planet, that would be pretty awesome.
I would not recommend that.
Come on, where's that optimism?
Destroy with extreme prejudice. Destroy.
The minefield was triggered by a pod of arriving star wells. Among them was a T6 class Jedi shuttle.
It would seem Ahsoka Tano is alive and well after all.
Here's everything the Inquisitor will do.
Put her on a path of her own choosing, so that no matter which direction she takes, we'll always be one step ahead of her.
I love Thrawn. Honestly, he's such a great character. His screen presence on there just gives me so much joy. Just even looking at him on there. He's really compelling. Like he takes up presence on the screen, but also presence on your screen as well, and whatever you're in. Actually landed in all the whale bones.
I do not like this.
This episode has done everything which I said at the start, like it's done the time in between, like something's happened, Ahsoka training through in hyperspace.
Then the enemy has
Now they've landed on the planet, like on the
Seems so.
bone rings, which make it even more atmospheric, but it's different.
I will run
It's
a scan
creepy.
to see if I can locate Lady Wren.
I completely forgot about Sabine and Ezra. So we're getting used to Ahsoka being back on screen again.
There's a new republic, Zeb's training recruits, and Hera's commanding the fleet. Equal level or worse?
He acts just like Ezra now.
Worse? Well, we could talk about something.
And he looks great.
Yeah, so where is Ahsoka? Is she coming?
I think I'm going to like you, Ezra Bridger. Surely Baylan Skull knows that they're going to betray him. You're on a different path, a bigger purpose. Do your own thing.
Fighter?
Yes, Grand Admiral.
I love that they answer to him. I wouldn't think Night Sisters would, which makes Thrawn even more scary. Play the Force theme. Play the Force theme.
Hasn't been all bad. Obviously, I made a few friends.
And why don't you try and connect with Ezra, who is
Sitting here when I
a
really need
Jedi?
help. Set me up with this pod. Let's get mobile here.
I don't know, I feel like that should be Ezra, not Sabine. Now this is pod racing. Someone's got to say it.
Friends of yours?
No.
Or you've got Ezra's lightsaber, so... There's something about you. I don't know what it is. But there's something. Send out your warg riders. There will be women and children. This is going to be very interesting. See if they're actually the generic stormtroopers or see how they perform. This is very exciting. And your choice of ship there is spectacular. That's better. Ezra, she's got your lightsaber, I think. Has she? Come on, Ezra. Come on, Ezra. You know what to do.
Cannot land while under attack. Standard Jedi mission protocol states.
Won't need to land.
Oh, not this again.
This again. Once I'm on the ground, draw the fighters away.
This is, of course, just remember what happened last time.
You got the timing wrong?
And didn't I feel terrible?
No!
They're a great duo. Honestly, they're really good.
Well, now. This is a surprise.
I didn't think she'd land there.
Didn't expect to see you again.
I hope nothing happens to Baylan.
Discipline.
One thing, they always seem to fight on flat ground with a massive landscape behind them. Like, I like when lightsaber fights, like Phantom Menace, and they're going on all the platforms and it's atmospheric, and Revenge of the Sith. Take it. Come on, Ezra. Take it.
Please take a blaster.
I thought if he was using the Force, he'd use it and they'd go flying, not just like a foot back. Or some kids in making it. I can't wait when you see a Jedi in a show where they literally just grab someone and chuck them so far into the distance and... Steady. You look like you're from the sequels anyway, so it's a fine dispatch. Third time lucky, ACB.
Don't defeat me.
Perhaps. I don't have to.
looked like Darth Malak there for a second. What was the point of landing next to him if you... We all want to know your story, Baden. Something is bothering you. Here we go. Don't be just generic stormtroopers,
Deploy
please.
teams 1 and 2 use constant circle in tandem.
Please be undefeatable. Give Ezra his lightsaber. Give Ezra a lightsaber, for God's sake. Why isn't he given one? Maybe he's not allowed to save. You know. So there really is nothing special about stormtroopers. They are literally cannon fodder. Which is a shame, because I saw potential for like an undead stormtrooper army.
Almost like the Jedi of old. Recall the...
Why? What's the point? So she could come back and have another fight. I don't get that.
Ahsoka.
So Sabine and her have the fourth fight coming next.
It's reunion?
Why haven't we seen Ezra and Ahsoka? I didn't think I would, but I actually like those turtles quite a lot. They're pretty cool. The design was pretty cool.
Guys,
Oh my gosh, we might go to Lothal. Oh, we have gone to Lothal. What am I talking about? Don't be the end. No. No. Gosh. So, Skyman, did you like that episode? Yes, I did. I really liked that episode. There's a lot of things which were happening which ticked the boxes for me. And even the stuff that we talked about at the start with Ahsoka and travelling through hyperspace and time passing. I know it wasn't really time passing, but she was doing something which was meaningful and had Anakin there training her. And Clone Wars Anakin again. It's just, I don't think that's not fan service. It fits perfectly for how the story's progressing, and you have to show those things for Ahsoka to give her more character development, to know where headspace is at, what she's thinking about, how she's still learning as well and keeping up with her training, and that's keeping her as a really skilled and competent Jedi, if she calls herself a Jedi these days, because she's still listening to the training that Anakin once gave her. That's really special. And I like seeing that there as well. So something that I talked about so then happens sort of thing in the episode. I do very much appreciate when that happens. The Force is with me in that. Also as well with Ezra, I really took to him in here. The episode 6, I didn't quite so much. I was slightly skeptical, a little bit worried, and I thought this is just going to be really underwhelming with him. But everything in this episode has just confirmed to me that he's a great actor for Ezra. Like, he carries the charisma, he has that sort of cheeky ability, the sense of humour. He has the look as well. He looks really like him. I don't know, he looks just different in the other one, but this one, he looks like Ezra. They've got the blue eyes as well, which I noticed, which is a nice touch. Everything with him is very exciting. I just do not understand why he didn't take his lightsaber back. That's your lightsaber. And I really start to feel more strongly about Ezra sort of being the one who should sort of have that relationship with Ahsoka, because he had it throughout Rebels, and with Kanan, Ezra and Ahsoka, they went off and did their Jedi stuff. Hera, Sabine and Zeb and Chopper did their, other hero stuff, but they did the Jedi Force things. And knowing that she was Force sensitive now makes you think, well, you were left out on that previously. That connection that they have history, Ezra and Ahsoka. And I feel like I know they wanted the master and apprentice dynamic, which kind of works, but at the same time, I still feel like there would have been more reason to have the connection with Ahsoka and Ezra, and the drive to get Ezra is because of Sabine's relationship with Ezra. I'm pretty sure Ezra liked Sabine at the start of Rebels, so it would have been nice if that blossomed. And what would have been nice as well is because Kanan had a relationship with Hera, and Kanan was a Jedi Knight, so Ezra would follow the same footsteps as Ezra had a relationship with Sabine, and that sort of goes beyond already the Jedi who did not have relationships, and that's where it went all tits up for them, basically, with Anakin. You know what happened next. So that's like a development as a Jedi as a whole, and then that could have, even if they had a Luke Skywalker meeting, there could have been like a revelation there of this coming together of like you can have these emotions, and that's, I always like the idea of this Jedi evolving from what the Jedi were before in that respect. So having a more sort of down-to-earth Jedi Knight who's just and understands emotions and not locking them away, because that clearly is dangerous. But something little like that makes my mind just think about these things and what could happen there. But I think Ezra in there with Sabine and Ahsoka, it's Rebels season 5. Like, come on, it's everything that I wanted, and I kind of really like the direction they're heading in. And you're calling for this big reunion with Seb was mentioned in here earlier on, and you've got Hera and Chopper there as well, and you've got Jason who will fill in the gaps for Kanan. So it's calling for that big reunion, and when that happens, and hopefully that happens, that's going to be really special, magical. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next episode though, and being the last means it must 100% go into season 2. But I'm only skeptical about that because previous series where it looked like there might be another season, like Book of Boba Fett, I thought they really might try and do something to regain his epicness a little bit, but that there was nothing there. And I don't think Obi-Wan Kenobi, where I thought might be a season 2 where they'd actually focus on Luke Skywalker and go down the path that kind of everyone wanted them to, but they obviously like to subvert expectations, of course. That's how they do things. But Kenobi, it could work for a season 2. It could progress with him on Tatooine and actually looking after Luke Skywalker and looking out for him. But nothing announced. So they could very well get to a really good point with Ahsoka, but it could be meaningless if there's no season 2, or if this doesn't progress into developing an intricate story which is going to unfold. Then this season will just be completely meaningless. You bring back Thrawn for what? It's you've got to make sure you have that confirmation and it's underway. I think it is, but you can't trust things going on at Lucasfilm so much at the moment because it's sporadic. Anyone could tell you that things are announced but never come into fruition, and we can't guarantee that there's going to be an Ahsoka season 2, and that's what concerns me a little bit. My only thinking is that this will be for a time the end of the TV shows, and they might set things up. I was thinking they'll set things up now to then carry on via films, and they'll probably like be based before the sequels or something like that. And eventually, I think the sequels would just be like gently, just sort of put, not cast aside, but gently just put there, and that's it. I think that's probably the safest way as well. Just don't draw attention to them. People like them, enjoy them, keep them for them. Because you don't want to take away that love if people had it for those films, because like I had the same for when I was growing up with the 6 Star Wars films, but I think there's, for the sake of the progression of Star Wars, always pointing in a new direction with Luke Skywalker, the Jedi, Ahsoka, and everything that's happening here is looking very promising as to what can happen for the future of Star Wars as well. There's so many cool elements at play, like there's Thrawn who's calculating already, and like they're waiting for all the people to be loaded. Are they going to be Night Sisters? Are they more Stormtroopers? I hope they're not Stormtroopers, because literally they did nothing. I really hope there was going to be something special with them. I think more of not like the undead Night Sister zombies, where they purely rely on the power of the Night Sisters, but to have a resurrected Stormtrooper who is sort of undefeatable and they're not tied down to the Night Sisters use their magic, the Great Mothers, to resurrect, but they're not sort of intertwined with them, so to speak. So they can go and do whatever they want, and that's what makes a small fleet or a small contingent of troopers from the Empire a formidable threat for the galaxy, because no one could kill them, and Thrawn's in command, and the Night Sisters as well, who could go on and create all these spells. And I remember the first time I saw the Night Sisters, it was kind of, because it was a new thing, it was kind of a little bit, is this Star Warsy? There's still a tiny element in there. I think there's a few people as well who sort of see that, think Night Sisters they don't really fit in Star Wars that much, because Star Wars is the Force. You can I can see where they're coming from, but also the Night Sisters could also be turned into something quite good again. I really liked how they're all created and portrayed in the Clone Wars and Rebels. I think they're interesting, but they were always kind of on Dathomir. So to see them out and about and doing things that, I don't know how I feel about just witches going around everywhere, because I'm all for Force users and Sith and etc, etc. But to have, what Mother Talzin was capable with, where you have grandmothers now, and there's 3 of them. So you can only imagine what sort of thing they'll conjure up when they get to the new galaxy. This is all providing that they do get there, because at the moment it's like you've got to wait for the last things to be loaded. Oh, quickly Ahsoka turns up and then they don't make it or something. That would probably be the biggest tragedy since Darth Plagueis the Wise, if they don't actually escape. If Thrawn doesn't escape, that's the end. He's defeated, and that's it. I mean, that would be sort of soul destroying. But at the moment, there's untapped potential with the series, with lots of things which can happen, and I don't want to see any of it go to waste. Thrawn is one of them, Ezra is another one, the Force, Balin, that power, being in another galaxy, the stormtroopers, which I feel like might have actually just been wasted in this episode. There's a lot of things which I really hope has been... it's Dave Filoni who's writing this, so I'm sure he's meticulously worked things out, and I know that he definitely would have put a lot of thought into whatever he's creating, but I just really hope that it pays off, and it gives the audience the sort of trophy at the end for being on the journey, and you have that satisfaction being at the end, because what happened in there was a lot of things happened, but nothing progressed, so to speak. So Thrawn's still there, they're still right on there. That probably should have been the episode where he escaped, and then we're into the final episode where he turns up, or something like in the normal galaxy, but something where it sort of moves forward a little bit, because he really didn't do much in this. It was more Ahsoka just going to find Sabine, and that was about it. But it was done in a really spectacular way and in an exciting way. I think the thing that touched me with this episode the most was C-3PO. I really thought I was going to, as soon as I saw the New Republic, I thought, oh, for God's sake, here we go. I didn't connect with the Republic in Andor. There was something odd and strange, and it just didn't seem right. And I keep getting confused of what era the Republic's in Andor, because it's flashbacks and everything, and it all looks the same now. There's that sort of Art Nouveau-ish, sort of clean, current modern day style, contemporary style, which is implemented in there, and it's very similar to the New Republic here, and in my brain it's all the same thing, because it's filled with incompetent people, which I don't like. But here it was shown in a pretty cool way in the little court thing. The only thing is, it was a big environment and looked cool, but I think for something as Coruscant and for something massive, and seeing like what Palpatine had when he had his courts, he's literally sitting on the Death Star room, like interior room, looking down, and this is a huge place, made everyone feel small. I think it needs a tiny element of that just to show how big Coruscant is, how important it is, and they could do it in a nice way, like it's a friendly big environment. Perhaps it's being respectful to old politics, and it has old politicians there or something along those lines, just to see. But the environment, I think, needs quite a few of the environments tweaking just a little bit. And I only say that because I'm still for the grand picture of, it's not just about the story and the characters, but the environment you're in is very much part of the story, and you want to be in an environment and not have to think about it. You want to just accept it, and I can't accept fully all the environments they're in. And these are just tiny, small details. I've always got the George Lucas thing in the back of my head, and watching these things and him wanting to create these spectacular things which are unique and original. And it was cool, the room, but I feel like it was for the whole galaxy, for the whole of Coruscant. It could have been something bigger. But anyway, the C-3PO going through there, I heard just or something like that, and it didn't register, but I got that sort of shivery feeling, and I was like the goosebumps for some reason, but I didn't think anything of it. And then he said something, and I was just like, wow, it's that same feeling I had when R2 came on with Luke Skywalker, because C-3PO and R2-D2 are Star Wars to me, and then they are the droids which create Star Wars, and they're so important to me when I was younger. So to have him in here as well, and nicely done with the Leia reference and written in there, I really like that. And that's the kind of nice storytelling which I like. Plus I love that Anthony Daniels is playing C-3PO, and he's in literally everything, which I'm a strong advocate for, because I love Anthony Daniels, he's great. But anyway, there's a lot of things which happen in this episode, and there's a lot of things which could happen in future episodes. Just in the last episode, let me know what you think could be happening, because I literally at this point don't think I'm entirely certain what's going on. What's going on with Baylan as well? There's something going on there. It's like something's happened to him in the past. It's not Order 66. There's something like he's holding on to. I don't know how to explain it, like he's missing someone, or yeah, it's a weird thing. But the fact that he's got this calm demeanor, but he's also seems pretty angry about it internally, but he's holding those emotions, makes him dangerously intriguing, and leads for a juicy sort of character development there as well. But let me know all your thoughts and what you think could potentially happen for the finale. I can't believe we're at the finale already. That doesn't make any sense to me. Surely there's got to be 2 more episodes or something. Can't just be 8. There's got to be another one. It's got to lead on to more. It's got to be continuous. But yeah, from where we've gone so far, it feels like we've blinked and we're near the end already. Don't know how that's happened. But so far, it's added on to the previous episodes nicely, and it's continued and developed more, which is what I like. And I very much enjoyed this episode. So hopefully you did too. Let me know what your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you're not already, and like this video if you did. Take care of yourself, and remember, the Force will be with you always.